1st July 1984, the second Huguansio gets crowned today, witnessed by hundreds, all eager to see and enthused by the prospect of a new beginning. The chosen Huguansio today is one named Tan Sri Joseph Pairin Kitingan. The people's murmur of excitement ripple through the wave of hundreds. Feet shuffle as they get closer. A few clamor to the front as they await their chosen one when he is officially and ceremoniously installed as state and national Huguansio of the Kadazandusuns. The office of the Huguansio is an institutionalized paramount leadership of the Koisaan. It is one of the fundamental and vital social institutions of the Kadazandusun community. Huguansio means paramount chief of the toughest, bravest, and most powerful core leader of a community. Derived from the words Huguan and Osio, the title represents inner strength that enables its bearer to endure and overcome all tribulations in life, and especially as a leader. Such a leader is also one that's brave and invincible. In his book, Sabah's Dilemma, Tan Sri Herman Luping holds the Huguansio in high regard. He is revered as a chief warrior, the prime individual of a community, otherwise called Pangazo. Now just titular, back in the day, mostly before North Borneo's colonization, the Huguansio garnered respect from his prowess in war and for being defender of his people. As the paramount chief of the Kadazandusun community, the person in the office of the Huguansio is highly respected and trusted by his people for his commitment to his word and for being responsible for and accountable over his actions, always with his people's welfare and interests at heart. The 50s and 60s was truly a search for the Kadazandusun identity, where the dire need for a cultural and political leader with indigenous people's concern were sought after. They were looking for a Huguansio to lead them to fight for recognition from the British, to be recognized as the original inhabitants of the land. Dr. Herman Luping suggested that this could have been due to communication breakdown between the Kadazandusuns and the white men. And this need was fulfilled by the rise of the late Tun Fuat Stevens. The first Huguansio, Tun Fuat Stevens, formerly known as Donald Stevens, was born in Kudat on September 14, 1920. His father was an Australian and his mother a Kadazandusun. As a child, he traveled extensively throughout Sabah due to the nature of his father's work in the government service. He was a multilingualist, being able to speak English, Malay, Hakka, Cantonese, Kadazandusun, and Bajau, and was able to understand most of the Sabahan native dialects. Tun Fuat Stevens spoke the Orang Putih's language, was well educated, and was a nominated member of the Colonial Legislative Council. He was very influential, and his position was very strategic to bridge the communication gap between the Kadazandusun and the British colonials. The now infamous Double Six incident, in which many lives were lost, plunged the Kadazandusun community into a period of great mourning and despair. Parish once included 3 prominent Kadazandusun leaders. This mysterious tragedy also took the lives of other heroes like Huguansio, Yang Amat Berhormat Tun Fuat Stevens, the then Chief Minister of Sabah, Datuk Peter Mojuntin, Patron of KCA, and Datuk Darius Binion, Chairman of KCA. Through the anguish and devastation, the KDCA helped the Kadazandusun rise above their grief and loss and return anew. Responding to the people's needs and call, the KDCA put together the broken pieces. From the rubble of the Sumbulan crash site, the Sunduan do Huguansio and Sunduan do Kadazandusun were restored. 1976 was a significant year for the KCA in its expansion to what it is today known as the KDCA. The current year's caretaker and acting chairman of KCA, Datu Clarence E. Mansur, welcomed new blood into the KCA fold. One of the new recruits was Datu Joseph Pairin Kitingan. In the following year, 1977, leadership of the KCA was extended beyond its current domain of Penampang. The new KCA leadership's inclusion of the greater Kadazandusun community saw to the election of a new chairman from fresh territory. Datu Joseph Pairin Kitingan was voted the new chairman. In his role as chairman, Datu Joseph Pairin Kitingan saw to it that KCA would be promoted throughout Sabah, ensuring the involvement, participation, and inclusion of all the diverse Kadazandusun ethnicities as much as possible. Like so many legends and historical events, for every appointment and installation, there must be a provenance. The makings of the Huguansio has taken everyone involved on many paths, but for this story in particular, it really began in Tuavon, where Datu Joseph Pairin Kitingan was installed as the Huguansio II. To date, it is still seen as a place of importance and closely associated to the pomp and grandeur of the Huguansio installation all those years ago. In all these years, the Huguansio has withstood the test of time. As a symbol and figurehead of the people, he is a concept inspired by and for the people. But how far into the future he will prevail as an active inspiration and agent of change remains to be seen. Perhaps it's a question many hold an opinion on, but what is for certain is the constant presence of his Sunduvan in the very heart of the Kadazandusun narrative.
I think the role of the Huguansio is the same as any community leader, where he is responsible for maintaining our culture and also to sustain our heritage.
Is our Kadazandusun community leader, or as we call him, like our Pemimpin Agong.
He brings the people together, especially the KDMR people in Sabah, to unite with each other.
The role of the Huguansio is to become the leader of the Kadazandusun community.
I think we definitely need a leader, even in the 21st century, because at the end of the day, we are a community and every community needs a leader. That is why we need our Huguansio.
Whether it is in the 21st century or let's say another 100 years, as long as the Kadazandusun community exists, our Huguansio is still relevant. My hope for our current and future Huguansio is to play a bigger role in our Kadazandusun community and to be actively engaged in our community, especially the younger generation, so that we can shape them into a better person for our community.
I hope that the current and the future Huguansio will continue to unite the people of Sabah, not just Kadazandusuns, but every ethnic groups, because we are all children of the same land and we all call Sabah home.